Live, local, late-breaking. This is WDSU News at 5.
Everyone in South Louisiana should begin preparing for this storm now. We've had a number of threats this hurricane season, and we have been blessed when Harvey went left and Irma went right. That is not what we anticipate out of Nate.
Southeast Louisiana prepares for Tropical Storm Nate, which is already proving itself deadly as it makes its way through the Caribbean Sea. Officials in Costa Rica blaming the system on 15 deaths due to flooding from the storm, and it is just getting started. Good evening, I'm Sela Kim.
And I'm Scott Walker. The governor and parish officials issuing states of emergency declarations and warning people to get ready now. We have team coverage tonight with crews in New Orleans, Grand Isle, and in Elmwood.
Chief Meteorologist Margaret Orr is in the Weather Center. She starts off our live team coverage with the latest on the Tropical Storm Nate's tracks. Margaret.
So what we're looking at, sunshine. This is the time to truly get ready. And we continue with those persistent strong east winds that have caused our tides to rise 2 to 3 feet. With Nate moving our way, forecast to be a hurricane, we're going to have a lot more than 2 to 3 feet. Here is a look at what's happening. You can see that forecast track, and you know what? It's moved to the west, and it's moved over us. We can look at the forecast models. They're pretty much all grouped over us. Now, we do have a reconnaissance flight in here. They're sampling the atmosphere. All of that is going to be fed into the forecast model so that we have a better idea of where it's going. Right now, we're seeing a lot of dry air. Wouldn't it be nice if that dry air stayed? Tropical systems don't like dry air, but this upper level low is moving to the west, and it's going to moisten up the atmosphere. So here we are, we're looking at Nate. It has now moved into Honduras, and you're going, wait, where's Nate? It's over land. Land is interfering with it, but you look over water, and we have got a real flare-up of rain occurring. So Nate's going to move into the northwest Caribbean tonight. We've got really warm water temperatures here, mid-80s. Look at how it's going to increase in strength. And then it's forecast to move over the Yucatan Peninsula, possibly over the channel. If it moves over the channel, water temperatures warm, less land interference, and it could intensify sooner. Then forecast to move into the Gulf of Mexico. We've got warm water. This is Saturday afternoon, an 80-mile-per-hour hurricane. So when you get a hurricane in the Gulf, you start to have the whole Gulf circulating around it. So we are going to have more water moving our way. There is the forecast track, and you can see that warm water right along the coast. So we're going to have a hurricane forecast to make landfall anywhere from Marsh Island over towards Mobile Bay, but the center is right over us. More of what we can expect coming up.
Margaret, thanks. Now's a good time to download the WDSU Hurricane Central app. As the storm moves, you can keep track of its path and get live updates. It's a free download to your iPhone or Android device. Meanwhile, the city of New Orleans is working to make sure the pumps are working and catch basins cleaned out ahead of Nate.
WDSU's Travis Mackle continues our team coverage live at City Hall, where the mayor just wrapped up a press briefing. Travers.
That's right, and in that press briefing, the mayor officially declared a state of emergency for all of Orleans Parish. That means all emergency responders, police, fire, and EMS will be working extended hours through the weekend as Nate appears to have his sights set on Southeast Louisiana. At the Municipal Yacht Arena in New Orleans, sailors like Debbie Huntsman are busy on this beautiful day getting their boats to higher ground ahead of Nate.
I would say, you know, hoping for the best is okay, but preparing for the worst is the smart thing to do.
City leaders are also staying active. Today, 14 crews were out hastily trying to clean and clear hundreds of clogged catch basins.
Today, they're citywide. They're anywhere from Florida Avenue to Marinade Mid-City, Plum Orchard, 7th Ward, St. Claude, and Venetian Isles.
And the work isn't easy. This catch basin in Treme filled to the top with mud, debris, and trash. And the city admits they don't know how many are clogged.
We have not done an assessment.
As for the city's pumping system,
so we feel comfortable with the storm right now. council member said, we've been here many times before. We're well prepared, we're well organized, we're well coordinated, we're in communication, we have good command and control.
No evacuations, mandatory or voluntary, called in New Orleans, and the mayor adds.
Our job is always to plan for the worst and to hope for the best.
Because people have to get ready for a storm that's coming.
And the mayor says people will be allowed to park their cars on neutral grounds across the city starting this weekend. Also, the fire department has several sandbag locations. Starting tomorrow, free sandbags will be handed out across the city. We have those locations on our Twitter and on all of our social media apps. For now, we're live at City Hall. I'm Travers Mackle, WDSU News.
All right, more on sandbagging. New Orleans locations will include firehouses across the city. They'll be open tomorrow beginning at 7 a.m. and open 24 hours a day. Trucks will start delivering sandbags this evening to fire departments, and fire officials will talk more about sandbag availability coming up at 6 o'clock. Again, you can find a full list of sandbag locations in other parishes on WDSU.com.
Jefferson Parish says they are ready for the storm, even though their pumping capacity is down by a percentage point.
WDSU's Tammy Estwick spoke to parish officials this afternoon. She has how long it'll take to fix that pump. Tammy.
Yeah, that's right, Scott. We're here at pumping station number 5, right off of the Elmwood Canal. Now, we did talk to Jefferson Parish officials earlier today. The director of drainage tells us it's going to take about 4 weeks to fix that broken pump. We understand that it's some type of gearbox that's inside of the pump that's broken. Here's the good news. It is under a warranty, so the manufacturer is working on sending out another one and getting that fixed, but it will not be ready for Tropical Storm Nate. Now, we do know that the parish has a standby in place for all parish officials. The parish says they've already cleared out over 9,000 catch basins since August and another 30,000 to date. But they say with the season changing from summer to fall, residents need to step in and help out with cleaning up.
Catch basins can be covered or clogged. Anything residents can do to help us to make sure we clear off those catch basins is great.
At this point, we feel very confident. We're definitely storm ready. Now it's just a matter of keeping an eye on the storm so that we can get a really good timeline of when those tropical force winds are going to actually hit the coast.
We do know that parish officials have contacted Energy, and they've also talked to the Red Cross. They have about 660 rooms for evacuees, or space for 660 evacuees. Also, down in Grand Isle, we do understand that there is a voluntary evacuation order in place. Once again, that's just voluntary, but we can tell you that schools and the library are closed tomorrow. And coming up at 6 o'clock, for those of you out there that may have hurricane fatigue and don't want to leave, parish officials are saying, hey, you got to go if you need to go, and we'll tell you why. Tammy Estwick, WDSU News.
Tammy, thank you. People in Grand Isle are getting ready for the storm as city officials there have issued a voluntary evacuation, and they're telling people to move their property to higher ground.
WDSU's Casey Ferran is live there with the latest. Casey.
Yeah, fellow residents we spoke to here say they know what to expect and how to prepare in these types of situations, and they are right now taking those precautions necessary to make sure that they can get out of town, get out of here safely, and head to higher ground. Now, while we were riding around today, we did see a lot of people who say that they've been watching this water rising here in Grand Isle all week, and today many of them were tying up their boats and other property as ankle-deep water was starting to surround many of the stilted houses we found here. And the mayor did issue that voluntary evacuation around 11 o'clock this morning, saying they're expecting several inches of rainfall and unusually high tides. So the city's asking anyone with vehicles, boats, or campers in low-lying areas to bring them to higher ground until this storm passes. And we did speak to one resident here, Barbara Longbotham, who has a house here in Grand Isle, but she only lives there part of the year, and she's securing up her property, saying she'll be heading to her home in Chalmette to wait out this storm.
We don't need the mayor to tell us to evacuate.
No, he's been here forever. I've been here since '84, so we know the routine, and you know, we're trying to help out who we can. But this is the man that helps the whole block.
And residents here say they recognize where they live and they understand the dangers of living here, but they are definitely keeping an eye on the weather reports to see what they can expect from Tropical Storm Nate. Reporting live in Grand Isle, I'm Casey Ferran. Back to you.
Casey, thanks. And we should add to the end of that in St. Bernard Parish, outside of the levee protection system as of 4 o'clock this afternoon, there is a mandatory evacuation order in place. That is in St. Bernard Parish.
And also, schools in Lafitte and Grand Isle will be closed tomorrow and Monday. That's according to the Jefferson Parish school system. Officials say parents can keep up with school updates through the district's mobile app and also on Twitter.
With Tropical Storm Nate beginning to inch closer to us, preps on the North Shore continue.
And that includes the ongoing storm surge project on Highway 11 just outside the Slidell city limits on Lake Pontchartrain. Almost precisely on schedule, crews will begin pulling sheet piling early tomorrow morning, allowing a free flow of water through the project. St. Tammany and the State Department of Transportation have teamed up to fill that critical gap at Schneider Canal, raising Highway 11 to the level of the levees on either side. At the same time, parish officials have stepped up preparations parish-wide.
We are in our Protocol 3, which means storm in the Gulf, and with a prediction of coming in our direction. We are stockpiling the sandbags, getting ready to distribute those probably starting tomorrow morning.
Sandbagging distribution in St. Tammany Parish will begin tomorrow and will be open on Saturday also. There are locations in Mandeville, Slidell, Pearl River, and Lacombe. Each location will be open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you can head to our website, WDSU.com, for more sandbagging locations in other parishes.
Straight ahead at 5, New Orleans political powerhouse released from jail early. Why most of William Jefferson's convictions were tossed today by a judge.
And Las Vegas police track the timeline of the gunman, Stephen Paddock. Find out what other music festivals he may have been targeting before Sunday's massacre.
As we head to break and look ahead to a weekend full of weather, it is beautiful outside on this Thursday afternoon. This is WDSU News at 5.
Live, local, late breaking. This is WDSU News at 5 with Sean Kreisman, Sulla Kim, and Chief Meteorologist Margaret Orr.
A former political powerhouse from New Orleans convicted of bribery and racketeering gets a surprising early release. Former U.S. Representative William Jefferson will be sent home just 5 years into his 13-year sentence. WDSU's Jennifer Crockett explains why most of Jefferson's convictions have been tossed out.
From Capitol Hill to a federal penitentiary and back home again. Former United States Representative William Jefferson, convicted on federal bribery, corruption, and racketeering charges back in 2009, will soon be a free man, serving less than half of his original sentence. Jefferson winning an appeal in federal court.
This is so huge that it's likely that he'll be coming home.
7 of the 10 convictions that sent Jefferson to jail in 2012 have now been thrown out. A judge finding instructions given to the jury were too broad. But the ruling does not clear Jefferson's name. Convictions on taking cash for political favor still stand. The former political powerhouse was caught in an FBI sting, trading international business contracts for cash. But the sentence on the remaining conspiracy, corruption, and racketeering charges could be less than the 5 years he has already served.
Usually, as a first offender, they may sentence him in that range where he's done enough time to come home.
Jefferson was ordered released ahead of his December 1st sentencing. Reporting in New Orleans, Jennifer Crockett, WDSU News.
As the investigation intensifies, authorities are now piecing together a timeline of the events leading up to suspect Stephen Paddock's killing spree in Las Vegas. While authorities have said there was only one shooter, they now acknowledge Paddock might have had help. In the weeks and months leading up to the massacre, authorities confirmed that Paddock looked at other cities with high-rises overlooking outdoor concert venues. They say he went as far as booking rooms in Vegas the weekend of the Life is Beautiful alternative music festival and in Chicago during Lollapalooza, but he never checked in.
Was he doing pre-surveillance? We don't know yet.
We look for actual indicators of affiliation, of motive, of intent, and so far we're not there. We don't have those sort of indicators.
Inside of Paddock's room in the Mandalay Bay Hotel, law enforcement found mounted cameras and thousands of rounds of unspent ammunition.
The The sun is shining. It is warm and breezy. Temperatures in the low to the mid 80s. Hey, this is a great time to get things done. You want to make sure to clean those storm drains because we've got the potential for a hurricane moving our way. In fact, tonight we could have a storm surge watch and a hurricane watch posted. So let's look at Nate. Nate doesn't look like much right now. 40-mile-per-hour winds moving north-northwest, 10 miles per hour. Those tropical force winds extend out 50 miles, and you can see the real flare-up of activity as well to the east of the center, which is over Honduras. Forecast to move into the Caribbean tonight. Water temperatures are warm as it approaches the Yucatan Peninsula. We can see winds of 50 miles per hour, and then as it moves into the Gulf, it's intensifying, 65-mile-per-hour winds. Here we are looking at Saturday south of Louisiana, and we've got a Cat 1 hurricane with winds of about 80 miles per hour moving to the north. Now, as we look at this, we can see warm water temperatures, not as warm as they are offshore, and we're looking at this cone, which is pretty big. Again, 2 out of 3 times the center in the cone, 1 out of 3 times outside of the cone. So you could have the center over here by Marsh Island, or you could have it over here kind of close to Pensacola. We zoom in, and at this point, forecast to make landfall right at Grand Isle, move to the north over New Orleans east, so pushing right over Plaquemine, St. Bernard parishes. Now, what you need to know, on the right side of a system, that's where you're really going to get that storm surge. Remember, you've got this onshore flow. So right now we've got tides 2 to 3 feet above normal. It's going to be a lot more. You are going to have water pushing onshore, especially for Plaquemines, St. Bernard, Hancock, Harrison, into Lake Borgne, also into Lake Pontchartrain, and right there at Grand Isle, you've got the water too. Then it's forecast to move right across the North Shore over Hancock County, Washington, St. Tammany parishes, heading to the north. On the east side of a landfalling system, you've got the potential for tornadoes. Here we are Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock. Temperatures are going to be on the mild to warm side, but you've got 60-mile-per-hour winds. Then it shoots up to the northeast. So this is a fast-moving system, nothing like Harvey. Here we are looking at the European model. Remember, yesterday it had landfall over by Pensacola. Today it's over here. And that lets you know it's subject to change. But with this view, you can see that onshore flow, and what it's doing is pushing water onshore. Then it moves right over the city, into the North Shore, over into Hancock, Pearl River County, up to the north, over towards Hattiesburg. So the Hurricane Center really picking up on that European model. The global forecast model has it more to the west, not as strong, and then shoots off to the northeast. So it shows that there is some uncertainty here, which is why we've got reconnaissance out here sampling the atmosphere, and all of that will be fed into the hurricane models. Here is a look at the rapid precision model, and it really blows this system up. I mean, that looks like a hurricane, but I'm showing you because it gives you that good idea of the water moving onshore, and then that almost looks like an Umberto. I mean, it's really tightly packed, and then it moves to the north and to the northeast. So mid-80s tomorrow, mid-80s Saturday, Sunday low to the mid-80s. Right now, we've got a decent east wind, at times gusting 20, 25 miles per hour. That's pushing the water onshore. We're going to have a storm surge watch tonight. So while it says coastal flood advisory, be aware of that. Hardly any rain out there. The weather is gorgeous right now. Looking at tomorrow, clouds increase in the afternoon, mid-80s. Rain chances going up. Listen, Saturday morning along the coast, you're going to have tropical force winds. And then Sunday, you've got that high chance of rain, plus you have wind, plus you have storm surge. And on the right side, you've got the potential for for tornadoes.
That's all, right?
That's all.
Thank you, Margaret. The city of New Orleans stepping up its preps for Tropical Storm Nate. Here is the latest on the catch basin cleanup. The city says there are more than 68,000 catch basins in New Orleans. 15,000 of those have problems. Nearly 6,500 have been cleaned since the beginning of the year, according to the city, including 3,500 since August. Energy workers from Louisiana have returned to the state after assisting in recovery efforts for Hurricanes Irma and Harvey.
And now they are preparing for the potential impact of Tropical Storm Nate right here at home. So energy officials say some 800 personnel are in the state to take charge in the event of power outages. Line crews and contractors are ready to get customers back in service as soon as possible. Residents are urged to stay prepared and informed by checking Entergy's social media pages and the outage map on their website.
In St. Bernard Parish, a mandatory evacuation happening right now for those living outside of the flood protection system. It went into effect at 4 this afternoon. Sandbag distribution tomorrow happens at the old Kaiser facility at the back of the Port of St. Bernard in Chalmette. You can pick up sandbags from 1 until 7 p.m. And then tomorrow evening, the Verrett Gate on Bayou Road will close. Then Saturday, LA 46 at Verrett and LA 39 at Carnarvon will close that morning. Still ahead, a single mother will soon get a new home. How much a group of local churches of, all right, let me try that again. How much is raised by a group of local churches and when this home will be complete?
A new ride-sharing program has launched in New Orleans. How it is improving the air quality. We'll be right back.
New at 5, a working single mother and her 2 children are getting a new home.
Today, crews from 10 New Orleans churches started construction, raising the first wall of the home. The home is located on Dorian Street in New Orleans East. More than 300 volunteers will build the home from the ground up. The home is expected to be complete by the end of the month. The churches raised $50,000 to fund the project. Organizers say this is an effort to make a better life for families in the Crescent City.
Drivers looking to go green have a new option. Go Ride NOLA helps commuters connect with each other to carpool. It's a web-based ride-sharing program. The goal, to eliminate unnecessary cars on the roadway, improve air quality, and keep down those traffic backups. Users can make a profile and find neighbors and employees in their specific area.
It helps people cost share. It helps them save on gas. It can help them utilize HOV lanes, as well as there are benefits to the environment. I mean, it helps reduce congestion on the roadways. It helps reduce pollution. So it also provides an alternative mode of transportation.
The program spans from Orleans to Tangipahoa Parish. Go Ride NOLA, that's GEAUX, is free and open to the public.
All right, stay tuned for NBC Nightly News, and then it's WDSU News at 6. And before we go, let's check in with Margaret. You have lots going on today.
So what I thought I'd focus on now is our local weather right now. Here is a look. I mean, it's looking great outside. Right at 6 o'clock, low 80s, 9 o'clock, low to the mid 70s. In the morning, really pleasant, mid 60s north shore to low 70s south. And then tomorrow, your high temperatures climb right there into the mid 80s. Rain chances begin to increase tomorrow night. And then Saturday and Sunday, count on it.
Yeah, Margaret, we'll keep you posted, so make sure you keep it right here. Thanks, Margaret.
And that's it for us at 5 o'clock. Thank you for watching. Much more on Tropical Storm Nate preparations in 33 minutes at 6.